Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is Lungani Gwala, aka Umfana Chocolate. This time I'm here to remind you that this weekend, Sunday the 23rd of January 2022, the articulation is on. We have beautiful, amazing panelists and we have performances and special guests. We're going to be talking about a lot of issues that we face as different communities. Please join us. Go to our social media accounts and click reminder so you can be with us when we go live. Lungani Gwala, I am signing out. See you on Sunday, 23rd of January. Yay!
It's only now, now or never, now, now, forever, now, now or never, or never.
Itola, ladies and gentlemen, manene na manenekazi poputi labo sisitshela ngiyanibingelela-ke once again igama lami ubongumusa kamngcubo umzilakazi ukhambula umlojo umalandela ilanga lizelwe shona aka dude Mr. Street Chillers uzokhumbula ukuthi khona la with the articulation show besilokhu sihleli nawe-ke unyaka uqalile from January kuze kube yisona-ke isikhathi samanje. This is our last month kuyona-ke i-season 1 ye-the articulation show. Uzokhumbula-ke ukuthi 2 weeks back sike sa-introduce a very interesting topic la kade sikhuluma khona about social and digital evolution. Panelist yethu ike yathi ukulidingida udaba together with uLungani Gwala e-studio, and namanje we are back. Namhlanje-ke sizothi ukuhlaziya, sithi ukuhlala kudaba, sithi ukunaba kulona because kuningi esifuna ukuthi ukuthathe ukufunde kuyona i-episode yanamhlanje la with the articulation show. Uzokhumbula ukuthi siyatholakala kuzona zonke inkundla zokuxhumana on Facebook the articulation show, Instagram the articulation show, kanti-ke on YouTube channel yethu ngqo The Global Sunday ungasilandela nakhona. Bafethu ngicela ukuthi-ke ngithathe iy'ntambo ngizise e-studio kuyena umfo kaGwala uLungani. Salute.
Dude, my guy. Thank you so much. That was Dude, all the way from Durban, South Africa. Ngiyabonga mnumzane. Yeah, njengoba seshilo Dude, today we're still digging udaba le social media and digital evolution. How is it affecting us as a community? How is it affecting us as a society? And what can we do to prevent zonke lezi nkinga esibhekana nazo? But joining me on the panel today, Princeton all the way from Durban, Siphakamiso Shezi all the way from all around, Tilo African Thunder from Durban, South Africa. Welcome to the Articulation Show. Why Mr. Shezi, make it you from everywhere?
All around. I'm from Durban, but I'll be everywhere. I travel.
How are you guys doing? Tilo, how are you doing? How are you doing, Princeton?
Good.
Not bad at all.
Yeah, maybe let's recap kancane ukuthi what we discussed previously with articulation. Remember, welcome if you're watching on YouTube, welcome if you're watching on Facebook, welcome if you're watching on Diverse TV. Please drop us a comment below if you have something to say, you have a question, you have a comment, you disagree, you agree, whatever it is, you have a story to share, please do drop a comment below. And also you can call in on my WhatsApp number +27796734077 if you want to speak to us in the studio. That would be awesome. Okay, so let's recap what are the things that we picked up under this topic here, social media and digital evolution. Tilo.
Okay, we picked up a couple of things. I'm only going to name a few. We picked up on child trafficking issues. We picked up on catfishing. We picked up on online bullying, loss of culture. We picked up on fraud, advancements, and all sorts of artificial intelligence challenges. I am leaning on our fellow panelists today to fill in the blanks, but we've got a meaty episode lined up for you. Mr. Shezi, would you tell us from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, last week was deep. It's even worse if you check the news. Currently, what's happening in South Africa, there's a lot which is happening. Trafficking, yengane, nani, and everything is almost related. But we cannot also blame social media and the technology. It also keeps us on our toes. We spoke about awareness, which are my challenges, which are serious. And they can even identify your kids, where you live, all through this technology, and job losses which are gonna cause havoc. If South Africa was depending on too much on farming, there's a new technology to farm, job losses. COVID came out, as from this technology is taking over. A lot of people were forced to work from home. Some, the moment they were sitting at home, they were forced to know what you're not needed anymore. Over the time which you spend at home. For some artists, can I really look at the entertainment industry as a career? No, I should be taking it as a hobby. It was challenging. It's tough. Yeah. But yeah, we should be expecting there's a lot to unpack on today's show.
And Princeton, what did you gather from last episode?
Yeah,
And as far as problems are concerned.
The last episode, I think one of my main concerns was the whole thing about social media and what it's doing in terms of the negative aspect of it. Even though I know we covered a lot of the good things at that time of social media, and obviously we've been through COVID, we've been through a lot with the pandemic. But there's been so much spin-off that is on the dark side of social media, like human trafficking, catfishing, and all these scams and things that are leading people to be things that are like leading people to kill themselves and commit certain crimes or commit certain murders or even like just to things like harming yourself and suicide. That was one of the things I think I spoke about the last time, and we were just trying to unpack what do we do from there? Like how do we help people that are affected negatively in terms of social media? I think that's where my point was with the last episode. And I did say that yes, we do have the brilliant part of social media, the good part of social media, but a lot of the things that I wanted to unpack, we kind of didn't get to because of time. But maybe this time, maybe in the first half an hour or so, we can try to figure out, like, what do we do with things like catfishing? What are we doing with things like the youth trying to live up to a certain standard or a certain image on social media and feeling like you need to fit in and then not fitting in and then wanting to do things that,
Keep up with the Kardashians.
Yes, yeah, so exactly. So we're basically trying to keep up, but in reality, even though, yes, it's a reality show, in reality, it's not that easy. And that's where you find now, I'll just use, for example, being in the music business, you need to show certain things that other guys have, and then you find that now it's COVID and the money is not doing so great. And then you're this big time celebrity. And now how do you tell your fans, hey guys, you know what? It's tough. It's tough now. And then you find that people now start going into these depressions and wanting to take their lives. So my thing the last time we spoke was, where do we go from here? Like, what's the solution? How can we look at social media and try to not, basically get something positive from that whole negative side of trying to keep up with the Joneses, trying to commit suicide and trying to You know, there was quite a lot. So I don't know. We can start with maybe one of them, either the catfishing or the bullying or the, you know. But I think that's where my point was the last time we spoke, if I remember correctly. That was where I
Perhaps
was.
for the integrity, sorry for cutting you. Perhaps
Oh,
for the
go ahead.
integrity of the show and this episode in particular, it probably would be beneficial for us to maybe begin with what is plaguing our society right now the most, and what it is within our reach to help solve. How about we approach it that way? Does anybody have any different suggestions?
I absolutely agree. I agree.
I agree with that. I agree with that because last week we couldn't really touch a lot on it. So let's try and do both, you know, and try and do it in one show.
Because there's not much that I think we can do, for example, about the job losses of people getting replaced with machines or, you know, things like that, because it kind of is where the world is going. We can point it out that it's a problem, but the fourth industrial revolution is upon us. So maybe for us to handpick, you know, for also the purposes of being, you know, realistic and pragmatic, to pick out the things that most affect our youth, because our heart is young and young people. Not to say that we're turning our backs on everyone else, but they are the future. What's plaguing our youth, and what can we, you know, us around the table, you know, contribute towards making better?
I think something we kind of, we've touched on these for a bit, so they're right there at the top of our list. But before we even go on, what do you guys think about lost culture, in the sense that if you look at South Africans, we follow what Americans are doing. We follow a lot of, and that's also part of the social media struggle. So if you see so-and-so, that side is doing this, you find out your favorite celebrity or your favorite, or even you yourself, or even us as individuals. Now we're trying to, we don't have that South Africanness anymore. We're not unique anymore. Now you cannot tell the difference, you know? What do you guys think about that?
Well,
That's a very strong
maybe,
point.
maybe,
Mr. Shezi?
Mr. Shez, yes.
No, I'm thinking about one small point. If you're saying Guti, we're trying to, you know, Guti, I always have a different view on anything. I will maybe like to follow what Stilo is saying. Guti, maybe let's start on to discuss one point. If we start on social media, we finish social media, then we move to industrial revolution and the impacts which are now. But today's show should be more about providing solutions.
Yeah.
Then coming up with problems, we raise our problems, and we also bring about our solutions.
Yeah.
When we start about social media, it's about time that we make everybody aware. But I think everybody is almost aware about our challenges which are there around us, about what information you can have on your social platform. Like, for instance, you know, when you're taking selfies, pictures, you don't keep your number plates on, but some people use your number plates to track up and all those things. You can post pictures of your kids, but you don't need to post the name of the school. Even if you do post the name of the school, you need to make sure which security hack is also going to be tight. But another thing, don't let anyone know your wealth. I know some people like to show off. But by the moment people start knowing your wealth, if you check in the news right now, how many kidnappings have taken place? All alone this year, we at the peak as South Africa. And by kidnapping, but demand a ransom. Nobody's going to demand a ransom from me if nobody knows how much wealth do I have. So it's about time which is going to be more private. And we need to make them aware of that. Like, we need to start
Here's a
awareness.
question here. Here's a question, Mr. Shez. How do people do that?
Before you answer that question, I just want to touch on, you know, if you look at how we are brought up, the black thing in us is to, if you've made it in life, let's say I get a new position. If I don't buy that new car, according to the people in my community, I have not made it. And I think that's one of the biggest struggles that we have in the communities, is that this thing of having to show our wealth is coming from it's been put on us from when we were young. In terms of you have to dress a certain way, you have to, if you don't have A, B, C, that means you're not who you say you are. So how do we get out of that?
I beg to differ slightly only, not to counter say what you're saying. I completely agree. But I also think, individually people deal with these things differently because, for example, I come from a family where the more you make it, the more you become your brother's keeper. Everybody who's not making it beside you, around you, then you look out for those people instead of flashing. But it is definitely not how the youth of today are behaving. So I completely agree. And now that I'm married, I've just got an anecdote, tongue in cheek, to share. Because Mr. Shezi did mention about us having, American standards and so forth. But my husband usually says to me, don't necessarily share everything that happens, in your life with strangers. Great people, according to, not everyone deserves to know your story, and number one. And then number two, he says, be untraceable. He says he wants us to be the Rockefellers. Well, nobody knows how much the Rockefellers are worth, for example. So, don't give people too much insights into, and naturally I'm an oversharer. And I think that it has indeed become a culture where, I'm pregnant, for example. The African thing is to not tell people how far along you are because e.g. witchcraft and so forth. And I know we're not just to zoom into African problems, but there definitely is a lot of preventions measures that we can put in place. Like now there's a POPI Act that's now come alive, of protecting personal information because of the people who used to take advantage of people's information. Your ID number, you mustn't go telling that to everyone. You can't do that because, for example, you can be signing a COVID form, but syndicates have been uncovered where they sell these ID numbers and they open accounts and they run up debt tabs and marry people to strangers and very, very funny things. So even in your CV, not putting your references because that's somebody else's personal information, not putting your address there. Do you know how creepy the world has become as we advance in technology? People can bug phones and do all sorts of crazy things. So we are now in an age which our parents never used to have to worry about, of really having to protect what's dear to us, personally speaking. My colleague once said, share only with the world what you are not afraid of losing, right, which I found was very conservative at the time. But as I'm growing older, it's making more and more sense, that what you hold dear, you must rather protect.
So just to be clear, so now we're talking about social media, and it seems like what we focused on mostly is identity theft and maybe probably scams and all those things that uses one's private identity to do their own agenda. But just to add on what Utilo just said right now, there are a lot of people who post their flight tickets on social media. Oh, I'm flying I'm flying to Paris, I'm flying to wherever. And then there was a time where a person that I know got in trouble because one of the haters took the details and they called the airline and they canceled the flight.
You see,
so
2 minutes later, I've been robbed. They've broken into my house. When I checked in Joburg, they know I live in Durban. Now I'm in Joburg, they know no one's home. That's a golden opportunity, for example.
That's
exactly
crazy. Hip hop artists in the States, a lot of them that are being murdered now is because of that, posting stuff on social media. Posting where that maybe, like, let's say you're doing a gig and a lot of these guys that like to hold the money in their hands. And then they show the house. Maybe it's a house that you rent, that, they're putting you in that house just for tonight. And then you find out, obviously, the people that are from LA or from that city, it's easy for them to just come and track you, You find out, like, that one guy, Pop Smoke, I think he passed away like that, posting money in the house where he was. And they came right there and they got him.
That's tragic. I've heard of similar stories after lobola negotiations, because you know that people carry cash around, that much cash around.
Yes.
Sometimes after selling livestock, you know, cows are expensive, and or selling a car even. I've sold a car in varsity, and they paid me in cash, and I was a first-year student, first time in Durban. Anything could have happened. Obviously, I didn't post it, but I could have. I wasn't wise as not to post. It just didn't occur to me. But probably in today's kind of world, you know, I would have been tempted to kind of be fanning myself with the notes or whatever.
Yo, Malobo
But there's one thing which I need to point out. You see, this issue of social media and people, it all goes down to self-esteem. I'll be real. I grew up in Lungani. I grew up when I was in high school, like Kabafana Babefunda in other schools. Whenever there was an event, a school in Sab, they would go around in people's houses borrowing clothes just so that they can look good in school. It boils down to self-esteem. That's where everything started before even social media was there. I mean, even Mexit wasn't there during my high school ages, man. But I knew very well everything which was going on. I knew everything. And the issue, which was the biggest problem, was just going down to self-esteem and nothing else. But abantu need to be educated. People need to learn what's more important and what's more valuable in their life. That's why I said last week, if you've got kids, if you've got brothers, if you've got sisters, try and educate them. Often they say more about self-esteem. Somebody does not need to get to approval 1,000 on social media or to be liked by abantu if they are getting enough attention at home. Let's be real about it. I mean,
So
if you bought a car,
So now,
yes.
let me bring a challenge a little bit. So now, what about those people who uses social media as a way of, you know, raising funds or making income? Because I know a lot of artists out there, you know, the more likes they get, the more views they get, you know, the more they get paid. How do you
Influencing has become
how
a
do you
job,
advise
paying
those
job.
people?
I know. I need to remember what Ms. Tilo said earlier on. Be willing to put everything up there which you are willing to lose. For them, that's a job. If you are marketing a business, if you are marketing you're baking or a certain business, social media is a very good tool to market. I know a lot of people during when the COVID started, they started marketing all their services on social media. You'd give them a phone call, some were even doing deliveries. We know what we had no KFCs, people ababe no shisanyama you could just order meat bazwamba by deliver. That helped because they were trying to earn a living. Because to them that was business. But if it's not business for you, I mean, uhamba quality mode, you don't own that car, it's been owned by a bank. But because Mr. Lee wants to show off whose power ties have made it first. What
But now,
is
how
going to
can
happen?
we,
Yes.
as influencers, because this now has become a culture. Influencing is a culture. It's not a matter of I can teach my kids, you can teach your kids. That's only like one step and one prong to, you know, an approach which would need to be vigorous to kind of reach a country of young people.
Yeah.
Okay. But you see, it's not a problem to be an influencer. There is no problem, Ngala. You can become a makeup artist. I know one guy with a beat. We don't know what he's doing from his bedroom. No money, always posting a beat. Think he does a piano. I don't even know who it is, but who is on TikTok and but nobody knows where he stays unless we are Mazukulenai. So it's all about what do you post. I mean, if you've got a child, I know a lot of kids are on TikTok. Some of them are making money from TikTok. But if you see your child who's okay, they are not looking good, just because they didn't get enough likes like they normally used to get, it's something which should worry you. You sit down and you advise your child.
Sure.
You see?
Yeah.
And just age restrictions. I mean, you can keep your child away from the phone to kind of protect them, but you also want them to kind of get used to it because children at school now are using phones to learn. So it's also protecting them from adult content, child-proofing your devices in the house, making sure, checking their inboxes, making sure they're not speaking to shady characters. You know, I've had friends, adult friends, who have exposed themselves to predators unwittingly just from having fun. And as an adult, for me, social media has become so stressful. Like, I'm actually just slowly moving back from it, which I don't recommend as a solution. We obviously would need better ways of fixing this. And I'm sure each individual has their own experience. But like, what can we do at a larger scale, or what can we put in place? I don't know if I'm being too narrow-minded by feeling like there may be ways that we can practically implement change. As people who
Okay, you start with the man in the mirror. You start with the man in the mirror. You start with the person who's in the mirror. You start by charity begins at home. You start by people who are around you. You educate them, you counsel them, you give them time. I mean, right now we spend more time on our phones and everything than we spend with our loved ones, which becomes a serious problem. But that's where people start to seek attention. If they don't get attention from who they are around with, they will start seeking attention from social media. If you don't tell a woman that she's beautiful, of course she's gonna start looking at social media. Which, okay, how many likes did I get? How many people said which I was beautiful? If I bought an Amhlanja got 8 and they see somebody else got 19, following day they'll do something worse. Just because they wanna get my likes. If you are one of those people and you know them, sit down, you talk to them, you compliment each other. That's all it's about.
So
We
maybe
just
we
need to
can
connect
limit-
more towards each other.
How would limiting screen time work, in your opinion? Saying, for example, from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. in this household, we put phones away or whatever.
That's not really necessary. No, it's not really necessary. But you mean like if you've got kids, if you've got brothers, come and keep no shy break or sit at the park. You can't say what people must switch off their phones if you're also gonna be busy in your laptop doing some work. Right now we are in a show for almost, it's been 30 minutes already. We are gonna go down for maybe another hour. What do you think your kids are gonna be doing? If they are done with their homework, they should be sleeping. If you've got a sister in the house, of course she's gonna be sitting on her phone, watching the show, doing anything.
Princeton, we are digested just like I am.
No, but you must give people time.
Yeah.
A key to life for which you give people enough allowance for them to be free, but you caution them, which you always behind them. You just watch them. You need to analyze them. Which, okay, now are they moving towards a negative or towards a positive point of view? I know a lot of people are using the social media to make millions, which is good for them. But people need to be cautious. And the only way which we can help our band is if we start by people who are around us, start by in our communities.
Hey,
You know, the phone, hey man, I see it as it's a tool. Yes, it's a tool. But at the same time, like Mr. Shez said before, too much of everything is bad for you.
Yes.
You know. So what I do, because I'm a social media person, and I won't lie, social media is tiring. It's exhausting. So I have alarms on my phone for everything that I do. I know it's crazy, but I have alarms on my phone throughout the day for everything that I do. So at night, this is what I have. On the Samsung, there's a setting for downtime. So at a certain time, my phone goes dark. You will see that setting on your phone. I forgot the name of it. You can set it on your phone where the phone actually, it goes black and white.
yeah.
Yes,
Do
and
not
that tells
disturb
you,
or
okay,
auto power save.
no, it's not. It's almost like an alarm
Okay.
where You must just check on the phone where the phone goes black and white. Now,
I
that's
think it's a
telling you-
sleep mood. Sleep mood.
Yes, sleep mode. So that's telling you now it's that time now. Yeah, it's that time. So having a setting like that on your phone after a certain time is good for you, you know?
Yeah.
And I know some people, like let's say they go to a restaurant to eat. Some people have this rule of, okay, everybody put the phones in the basket. Check
Yeah.
your messages and, you know,
I love
everybody
that,
knows you safe. And then once we're done eating and it's time to go home, okay, then everybody gets their phones back, you know? And that works because I'll be honest with you, you find couples in the bed on the phone.
Yeah.
You don't realize it, but you and your lady can be in the bed, but I'm on the phone, you on the phone. I'm on the phone, you on the phone. 1 hour can go by, you don't realize it.
So how do
There's
we
this
deal
other
with
thing of data
Ma-
leakage. For example, people keeping shady things on their phone and things that can incriminate them or things that can cause their families irreparable loss.
Okay, so
You
let's
know,
say
for
maybe
example, you send the phone to
okay,
repairs.
Tila, let's say maybe just to you know to throw a question on Princeton. Let's say maybe Princeton, you said you're a social media person and you have your own schedule that you use, you know, for doing whatever that you do on social media. Let's say maybe your wife or your girlfriend has the same thing. Is there a way that you guys can work together to make that, you know, not affect you or your relationship? For instance, like scheduling a time where you guys can plan to work on social media or post if it needs be, whatever that you guys are doing on social. Is there a way?
Yes. So I'll tell you about me, right? Because she doesn't work with social media. I have that schedule so that I don't miss times because I'm doing social media for another person, another company. So I use that alarm. Oh, it's time to do this. Oh, it's time to do that. So yes, it does help scheduling time and alarm clocks for certain activities. So I'll be honest, it works. We're living in a time where you cannot be ashamed to say, I need an alarm to remind me to wake up, or I need an alarm to remind me. It's too much now. It's too much internet. Like I just found a setting. I was at a kid's party on Mother's Day with my son. And one of the mothers has this app on the phone. I forgot the name of the app, where she controls all the time for the child on her phone. So everything is and I'm going to use that app. Everything is controlled from the mom's phone, that if you have too much internet, it cuts off at a certain time.
Wow.
Only certain sites you can go onto, and she can do that from wherever she is on that child's phone. You see, so we need to implement structures.
That sounds like a solution.
Yeah, we need to implement structures that kind of cap what we do. Because let's be honest, human interaction is fading.
That's true.
Right now we are talking to the phone. I'm talking to the phone, you're talking to the laptop. You know, if I have to take a picture of myself doing this 10 years, it will look crazy. But that's the way things are now. I remember watching a movie with Wesley Snipes and Sylvester Stallone, where they're having sex. They put on these, what's that movie? Demolition Man. When I saw that, I was like, come on.
The virtual reality glasses.
Yeah. Where are we now? Where are we now? When you saw that scene those years, you were like, come on, look at what's this now? That's what we're doing now.
There's digital dolls that you can buy that imitate humans, but I don't want to go in that direction. That must tell you. It's getting bad. But can we even avoid it is another question.
That's why, like Mr. Shazer was saying, it's on you. You need to look at yourself and decide for you how you, because let me tell you something, this thing is going to be worse. If you don't have control right now, you're going to get addicted to everything. Everything.
Like people can buy guns on the dark web. They can terrorize countries on the internet.
Look, we got Mr. Delivery. We've got Uber Eats and all these people. I can send drugs to you right now from my phone to you. Give me your address. I'll send it to you right now on an Uber. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Maybe let's shift kancane and talk about human trafficking, because I think that's one of the big issues that we're facing currently, so that we
Yes,
don't lean on
yes.
one side and maybe.
To close the previous one, though, I think Princeton and Mr. Shezi did offer us good solutions for, putting kind of a measure to screen time and curbing addiction. Because addiction is also another problem that we haven't touched on, but that's been solved in the comments that I've heard made so far, just before we move forward.
Yeah. Okay, before we talk about human trafficking, let's just take a short break and then maybe see if Kono Paula, if you are watching at home and you had an experience where maybe you were scammed on social media, or anything that is related to what we talked about right now, or you want to add something, please share with us in the comments so we can share with the public. This is the articulation. We'll see you in a second.
Hello! Welcome to the Articulation Season 1 2022. My name is Lungani Gwala, aka Chocolate Kid Leo. But Lungani Gwala, aka Umfana Chocolate. Yes, it's here. It's gonna be starting on the 23rd of January. Please, I cannot wait to introduce you to our panelists, our performers, and the entire team. Shout out to you, and I hope you are ready. Let's go!
Hello everyone, welcome to the Articulation Show. My name is Lungani, I am your producer. I'm here to remind you that on the 23rd of January, this Sunday, we have our first episode as the introduction. The panelists are ready. If you want to know more information, please go visit our Facebook page, The Global Sunday, The Articulations, Diverse Global Studios, or you can check me, Lungani Gwala. You can also call +2779 673 4077 via WhatsApp. Remember, we're not just doing a show, we are building better communities. Let us sanitize the problems.
It's only now, now or never, now, now forever, now, now or never, or never. It's only now, now or never.
And one. Welcome back to the Articulation Show. I just want to remind you all that today we also have a performance from Benjamin Mosoa, all the way from South Africa. He is a dancer. He represents the community of disabled people. So it's going to be really amazing. Stay tuned. You are going to have fun with us. Remember, if you have a comment that you'd like to share with us, if you're watching on YouTube, you're watching on Facebook, please do so. If you want your comments to appear on screen, please shift from the articulation, go to the Global Sunday or Diverse Global Studios. Okay, so maybe let's focus a little bit with human trafficking, because I think that's the issue that is always being discussed. Each and every time I talk about serious social ills with anyone that I come across in the entire world, human trafficking is always the topic, is always in the topic. So Mhlambe, what can we say when it comes to that? Because I remember I saw a video a few days ago where a truck driver, one of those trucks that carries a tank, like a gas tank, and they deliver gas to gas stations. They had women inside that tank and children. And children were already fainted. So one of the women could not take it anymore, was just banging the tank until somebody noticed as the truck was driving. And then it was stopped by the police. I think it was reported and it was stopped by the police. And then they opened up and the kids were fainted. Some they were crying, voiceless, been crying for hours. It was just terrible. It was just terrible. Let's just talk about that for a moment and see what findings we can share with the public, because I think this is very important.
Nangalokho, we need to look at ama-root cause.
Mm.
Ngoba i-human trafficking is not i-root cause yakhona. Number one, ama-demands abantu. You see, I'm sharing a secret. Around 2004, 2005, 2006, I used to be so good in hacking people's phones. In a way, with anyone who brought a phone from 3310 to anything, I'll just hack, unlock, and do whatever I wanted. Up until I lost my V360, it was stolen. And then I said to myself, whoever stole my phone, somebody else like me is going to be opening that phone for these people. And from that day onwards, I never even decided to even try and hack somebody's phone or even open it up. But I had to feel that experience. It goes down to individuals. I mean, if you go out to a certain country, I mean, like you visit certain countries, you see these women, they are born good, they are not in a good condition. Because we are about. It's all about us. If you support isn't a negative, the moment when those negative things start happening to you, you cannot run complaining over you also the root cause in the first place. That's number one. Number two, now we need to keep our information. Earlier on, we need to keep our personal information confidential. We keep them private. They don't need to be private. You can post a picture now and then. But to go to say Gwala on social media and everything, that's not good. If you are in business, even if you make it, you become a multi-millionaire. The moment you take that status, unless you're a fraudster. But if you are a fraudster, you're trying to tell people which you're a millionaire and you haven't made it, just so that they can follow you and get likes. I mean, I know some people who've done that, have claimed to be millionaires, only to find out what they were claiming to teach people how to become millionaires, charging them 5,000 rand. If I get 5,000 people, that's 25 million already. I'm already a millionaire. But the only difference is what I pronounced it earlier, what I'm a millionaire.
Yeah,
Before
absolutely.
even those
But
5,000 people came for lessons.
Mr. Shezi, let's have a look at human trafficking. For instance, there are women out there, young girls out there, young women out there. They want to join modeling agency. They want to be out there. They want to be musicians. They want to do all these kind of things. I'm gonna say women because now there's a music video from one of the artists that we interviewed a few months ago on the Global Sunday, and she, makes awareness of human trafficking. And there's a music video where she shows that sometimes it happens that you might have like a parent that wants to make money, and they would sell their children to these people who will take the children and make them sex slaves. There's police out there that you'd go and report just because they benefit from that. They wouldn't do anything. They would say, okay, we'll take care of it. Then you wait for months and months. Nothing happens because they already got paid by the same person that is making money out of these children. Now, looking at the serious issues, I see all the issues of, scamming with, I'm a billionaire, I'm going to make you multiply your income, whatever that is. But now let's talk about these children who get missing every minute.
Yeah.
It's not only children, it's adults as well.
Exactly. I'm
Like
saying
the last
children
week-
because, children are the future of this
I
world.
get you.
So social media
last
may not be
episode-
the root cause, but it's an enabler. Like it's
Say that
again,
contributing heavily.
Tilo, go for it.
No, I'm sorry. I'm just adding 2 cents every now and then. Pardon.
But back then,
Continue,
again, it starts
continue.
with social media. You see that post, and I mentioned this the previous episode about a lady that I know that was going for a casting in Gateway. Well, the Gateway area in Klang.
Mm.
And obviously she saw this ad on social media, and she's a model.
Mm.
So you get there, next thing, how you held hostage. They say this and they say that, and that's how these girls they're getting taken. Sometimes it starts through a post. It starts through a post, and sometimes or a WhatsApp that a friend shares to you, but it's all coming from, and it can lead to, so how do you make people in that industry aware that, hey, this is what can happen to you if you go to the wrong hotel room and you meet the wrong guy, you'll end up in the back of some person's van across the border.
Yeah. Yeah. How do we create that awareness? How do we reach out to people and say, I know there's a YouTube there's a YouTuber who does an experiment where he takes a child that he knows, and he
I saw that.
Yeah, you saw that, right? Can you explain that, Princeton?
I don't know if it's the same video, but there's a video that I saw. Sorry, I think I jumped the gun there. There's a video I saw of this guy doing it's almost like a skit where he's walking in a crowd of people with a child in the front of him, and he'd grab this child aggressively and run.
To see how people are going to react.
Anything. And it's like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how we're living now, where a child can get grabbed and you're like, okay, you're not sure what's going on, but you continue.
Yeah.
Yeah, you continue on your way.
You don't know if it's a prank. You don't know if it's...
but let's be honest, at that time, you're not thinking of pranks. You're not thinking of pranks. Because it's happening in real life, in real time. It's like if a guy is stealing something out of a car, you're not going to think, this could be a prank.
It's really funny. It's really funny because this is very connected also to social media. I remember there's a video I've seen a couple of weeks ago where a father goes to a play place with a child, and then he sat down and started looking at his phone, but it was a setup because they know him. He's always on his phone. So while the child was playing, somebody went there and took the child. It was like, hey, I've got chocolate for you. I've got a lot of chocolate for you. Come, let's go. Your mom said I must pick you up. And he left with the child. And minutes later, the guy realized that the child is no longer there. So it is also, it's really funny that this is also connected to how we spend time on our phones, how the phone takes away our focus.
Yes. And you notice that with adults, and I've noticed even with children, even with my son, he's 4. Once a person has the phone, and I said this in a previous, I don't know if it is the previous episode, where I said the more time you spend on the computer, the more, I don't know if you guys remember that.
Inside. Yeah.
I remember.
You kind of become less intelligent. I'll use that in a nice way. You become more stupid. The more time you spend on the computer, the more stupid you become. When you talk to a person on the phone, Mr. Shiz, when you talk to a person on the phone, I can guarantee you it'll take them at least 5 seconds to realize that, hey, I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
Because the phone has, I almost say.
Have you seen how people walk around when they're on the phone?
Dude, you could steal a guy's wife. He's on the phone. You won't know it.
Princeton,
It sounds like there would be
Princeton, hang on. Let's talk about human trafficking, please.
It sounds like there would be merit in an awareness campaign of sorts, whether we physically do like a school run, maybe high school, because that's where children start getting phone smarts. Sometimes maybe even universities. I don't know who we can target. We can either do short videos of people doing, it could even be us speaking about testimonies of either what we've been through or what we've seen people go through, or just generally what good practice is. I know we've been threatening to animate a whole lot of stuff. We could even animate a short video, have someone narrate over it, or have words appear and do people drawing doodles, make it colorful and inviting. I don't know. What do you guys think, Mr. Shezi?
No, but at the same time, I was thinking about a few things. There's this guy in South Africa, and he just designed smartwatches, which I used to track kids. I'm not sure if you've seen his videos. He's a South African. As much as we're complaining about technology, we're complaining about human trafficking, I'll share that in the group after this. Yeah, he designed the wristbands. They can be put anywhere in your child. It's not something which goes under your skin, but it's always a tracker for which if they can even just press that button and it's gonna be a panic button. Technology, it's also, as much as technology is bringing problems, but there are so many solutions which have been brought by technology as well. But that can also really, really help. Imagine if one of those girls, some of them had one of those watches. I know most of our bantu and they don't even really think it. Those things can be tracked. But nobody will say
bad. It's a keep going around. So like for example, in the adult realms or even in the youth realms, of people leaving parties with strangers, you know, whether in the club or wherever, even at school for a lift when you're going home and on the way to the taxi rank and a stranger offers you a lift. I think that wristband would be helpful if the criminals are not already one step ahead to know, like the tracker in the car, we'll see if the child has this kind of wristband. Because again, the more you market it, everybody can see it, you know. I say but I mean, it is definitely a step closer. It's better than nothing, you know. Drug awareness, all of that.
Yeah, and also I think there is an option on the phone where you can use Google to track you through your phone.
I was about to say that.
You know,
so a lot of the guys that cycle,
it gives you like, you know, a report of places that you've been. If you went to a restaurant, it tells you how much time you spent at a specific restaurant, and you know, it's one of those things that Princeton was talking about, and Mr. Shazy, that, you know, it also tells you how much you've walked.
Your girlfriend.
You know, a lot of these guys that cycle on their own, that go like on trailer tracks and all of that, they actually use WhatsApp Live for family members to track them. I met a guy that was telling me, hey, you know, he keeps his WhatsApp Live on, and that's how his wife knows exactly where he is on the road in case he could be knocked by a car or whatever. She can see on the phone. So a lot of people don't know that some people, they use that WhatsApp Live when they travel and they leave it on. If that WhatsApp Live goes off, then they know there's a problem.
So is
that
it,
WhatsApp
is it
location, WhatsApp location.
So is it something that you both have to agree on, or people can just track? Because I mean,
not people. Obviously, your part. Let's say if you have me on WhatsApp,
right,
and I send you my live you know,
location.
at least now you can see exactly where I am at that moment.
Just make
But
sure.
I mean, somehow that doesn't need to happen every day. I mean, there will be times we were just talking about some models. I'm going to an interview. I don't trust Abanteng, then that's when you take all those extra precautions. If you've got kids going to school, you know very well, but if you, like me, now I drive my kids to school, I fetch them every day. I know some kids have been sent by Omalum. You find them standing at the gate, and they take all the kids, they put them in one car. You know, Guti, after and they'll take your kids, they'll drop them off in your house. The only thing which you might be worried to give and they take your kids. You know good now, that's something which you cannot control. But for little things as called, which you don't give your kids money to travel by public transport. It's different than like then you give your child the man who's ice cream, I'm just standing here waiting for you. Or take this, go put it in the bin. Becomes a problem if you say that and you're busy watching your cell phone. Because somebody might run and grab your child. It's everything which we're trying to discuss now. It's all about people being cautious of what they do, being aware of their environment.
And
but that's what it's all about.
Yeah. And also if you know, looking into joining an agency and you're seeing all these ads that you see on Facebook, check if it's legit, check if it's registered. You know, track them, how long they have been in existence. You know, because, you know, people can just create emails to use them just for a week. Hey, I've been scammed. when I was back in Johannesburg, they told me, hey, you've got a job. You've got a job for Sasol gas station. You need to submit you need to sign this contract and send it back and pay a fee of. And I warn everyone who's watching at home, if somebody says they want to employ you but you have to pay money, never do it. Never. You never pay money for employment. You can pay money to make your ID, you can pay money to make your visa, you can pay money to make your passport, you can pay money to print out the application form. You can never pay money to get a job. That's a scam. Anyway,
No, you know why you fight. No. It's interesting. Somebody made a phone call to me looking for my niece. Hi, I've got your CV. Call him 7 or call me. It's okay. I'll give her the phone. I know, come for an interview, but bring 3,000 rand. Okay, I pick up the phone, I grab the phone, I say, okay, it's not a problem. I will bring the funds. She will come for the interview, but I will carry the funds. But no, there's no need for you to come. No, you can't tell me there's no need for me to come. I'll be there. Of course, I can't give the money. I will come. Then they start saying, no, it's in our way. You're going to. I said, listen, if you're serious about getting your money, I'll give you money. And as soon as they hear their voice, somebody will really go after them. Then they just cut the phone. Sometimes I like to challenge things and see how far they're going to go.
Yeah.
Especially people like scammers. I enjoy them a lot.
But some human trafficking as well is not so direct. I mean, those guys were brave to call and ask for. Some people just identify, for example, virgins, because of common misconceptions about virgins being able to cure whatever, and people pay ridiculous amounts of money. Some people kidnap people to mutate them for umuti and stuff. So maybe also raising those kinds of awareness, which albinos are not lucky charms. They are human beings,
Surprisingly,
things like that.
Sorry to cut you off, Tilo. Surprisingly, 2 days ago, I met a guy named Lawrence from here in Prescott, and he was telling me, Uti, people are selling children, like infants, so that because the infant's heart worth like $250,000. I don't know what they do with it, but I was like, okay, so it is happening everywhere. It's happening everywhere. So I just
That's
wanted
ridiculous.
to add, yeah. I wanted to add,
Even now, if you look at social media, do you know that even witch doctors are trending? I'll just say in this past year, especially in KZN, witch doctors are trending. They are so active on social media, like you cannot believe. I saw a guy the other day.
Bring back lost lover, guys.
No, that's just
in KZN or Gauteng.
And these
everywhere.
other people that promise to bring money for.
Guys are not afraid to say now, I've got this for you guys that are stealing. I've got this, come get this. That's
that
the way
you can win your court case.
Yes, they advertise that on their live. They go live, Things are so advanced. It's almost like, guys, we have to educate people around us, our family members, how to use the social media thing, what to look out for. A lot of people are even going to these scammers, like you say, bring back lost lover. People are sending money, there's no bring back. You're sending your money, it doesn't come back.
Yeah.
So there's so much you have to be careful about with social media. Yes, it's good, but at the same time, you have to.
Right. Yeah.
There's also human trafficking for illegal organ trade. So we could maybe also appeal, although I don't know how much you can go, how far you can go to the parents of a sick child who doesn't want to stand in the long queue of donors. We can maybe also appeal to people looking for organs, not to go the black market route, I know you can't negotiate with a desperate person who just wants to heal their husband or heal their daughter. But maybe if we shine a light on the disadvantages that it causes innocent, unknowing people, sometimes people trying to cross the border now have to pay with a kidney or whatever to come across undetected. So much is going on in the black market. And it doesn't just end with humans, it's animals as well, for like elephant tusks and rhino horns and as well, again, muti, you must get the balls of a lion or something to make people not come to your house and steal, crazy things like that sometimes. And, one can argue that it works. I'm making just a terrible example, but you really would laugh yourself to a coma if you found out all the reasons why people do these things. In a sane person's mind, how can it make sense for you to rape an infant for your own healing? How selfish and obnoxious can a human being be? But that is the nature of the problems we are living with. These people walk among us, you would be shocked.
Maybe Princeton, did you want to say something, Mr. Shez, before Princeton has funded my comments? Just take two only, Princeton.
On this one, Mr. Yeah, I think she got me shut. Sometimes when there are things which I don't even want to talk about, but they get me so pissed in a way that I wish I Sometimes, I become an unbeliever by just hearing some people who do certain things. Kids are innocent. I can harm Princeton or Leo because I've got a grudge against them over the years. Maybe they've done, but what do you do to a 1-year-old? 6 months, 2 weeks. Guys,
you know
what? There are things which I don't even want to talk about.
You know what?
They will get my blood boiling.
You know what? Let me share something quickly before Princeton after my comments. Shares just to balance what you just said right now. There was a guy when I was young, ne? It was like I knew him, wasn't a close friend. So there was this time where we were just walking on the street and this guy came and he just slapped us on our face just because we were young, we couldn't do anything. You know what the guy that I was walking with said? He said, you will grow up, you will have a family, and you will have kids, and you will die, and I will abuse your kids to pay back. Can you imagine how serious that is? So there's quite a lot of reasons, and I'm not trying to give people reasons for doing stupid things, but I'm just saying, the foundation of a lot of things that happens out there, Yeah. So yeah, please, Princeton, go for it.
Yeah, I think with the comments, we've got a few from Lisa Marie, where she says, wow, and ew, I need that. But unfortunately, I cannot see all the other comments. But to touch base on what we were just talking about, man, we're living in a time where we have so much of everything. I just feel now, like what Mr. Shezi was saying, you have to kind of know now how to move. Now it's up to you. Let's see now how you do things, because you cannot be taken by everything. Yes, social media is a bad thing, but yes, there's good things about it. So it's up to the people to be like, most of the time people have these fancy phones. They don't know how to use them. They know how to go on the app, yes.
Yeah.
But they don't know the phone, the device, what it does. So I just think it's up to the individuals to kind of like make yourself aware. If you look at what Tilo was talking about, the black markets and organs and all of that, it's bigger than us. That is a whole world on its own that if we have to dig deep, we would be shocked as to how it works. Same with prostituting and kidnapping. That thing is such a syndicate thing. It's not something that you could put a poster and say, hey, yes, be aware, that could help a few people. But you know what? That thing is so organized. I believe personally that it's an organized crime. It's not a mistake.
Mm, 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 mm. So, do you think maybe we can gather different stories, um, that happen from different people, and maybe we create like short clips that we can publish on social media. For instance, I'm just gonna create a story out of my mind. A young girl wants to join modeling agency, and they call her and they say, you know what, visit our offices, on Friday. Then they give them the address, and then they find that the offices maybe are in a bank. It's not it's a different, it's a location that does something completely different to what they're saying. And then later on they say, oh no, we just recently moved our offices to, and then they direct them to a home or a house. We just moved from this location and now we are on this location, so make sure you're here by 8:30 a.m. Bring your this and that, your ID and your what and your what. If we can find stories like those, and stories that we can create in our minds, which are possible, that that
Yes.
they happened before or they might happen, in this life that we're living in. And then create short stories like 5 minute, 2 minutes, stories that indicates or reveals or shows people, what path they shouldn't take that might lead them to being kidnapped or being killed or being,
Yes.
whatever that is. I don't know if that's an idea. I think, people believe most of the things that they see visually than anything
Yes.
else that they hear.
That's true. That's true. Do you know if you go on Twitter lately,
Mm.
Twitter is like a movie, guys. Twitter is like a movie. I read about a girl, we're touching on the same story. I read on Twitter a girl talking about also same thing, modeling, her and her friend. Her brother dropped these two girls at this place to go and, same story, got a WhatsApp. Then it's like all of a sudden, no, we're moving locations. Luckily, the brother was parked outside. And he followed these. Now, these girls jumped in a car with these guys going to a new premises to do the shoot. The brother was in another car waiting to see, okay, what's going to happen here? Luckily, this guy, he followed these guys to a point where he was flashing and hooting them and told them, he pulled up on the side and told them they need to get out because they were not going to the location that she said they were going to.
Mm.
Had he had not been there, those girls were gone.
Mm.
So all these stories, if you go on Twitter, you'll find out that people have these things on a daily, on a weekly. There's something happening in this country like that.
But guys, we're taking this back to all about his self-awareness, all about his support. I once had a person who would call me at a transport pedal. I needed to come and take me home. I'll be thinking, it's 7 o'clock, you're 120 kilometers away. Can't you Uber? No, there's human trafficking. You know how irritating it is? We are home, you need to drive almost 100 Ks. You pick up and go drop them off at their house and come back. Then you get another phone call. My DSTV has got a problem. Call somebody to come and fix it. No, I live alone. Can you just come and sit in the house? Call somebody to come and fix it while you're here during the day. I don't want nobody getting the wrong impressions that I live by myself in this house. That person is intelligent. Not to put if you've got a sister who calls you like that, not put your sister is causing you problems. You've got a niece or maybe a friend. They care.
Mm.
And they don't want to do anything which will put themselves in danger. I mean, just by taking, how many people have been trafficked by taking an Uber? A lot. But if you know which you're sitting at work and somebody's coming to pick you up, you're not going to have a problem. If you know which you're going to be alone and you don't tell anyone, or if you still would know I'm going to be alone, let me just call my cousin. They can come and spend some time with me. If you've got let me say, you're living alone in your house, you've got a sink which needs to be fixed. You don't call somebody to come and fix it. You call your brother and say, no, please call somebody to come and fix it. I want them when they come to fix this thing, you must be in the house. That's all about being aware and not being too proud to admit what you need help. It's those little things.
Yeah. And one of the things that they use to trick people, because you at that moment you're not literally in your mind, you are like in that excitement state where they say, hey, you have been accepted, quickly, we need this by this date, and then they make it so quick in a way that you're unable to do your research. You're unable to calm down and think about the situation. You're unable to go to your brother, to whomever that you know for an advice. You just want to get this done quickly and then tell them as a surprise, I've been accepted and I'm having a shoot. How do we deal with that as well? I mean, I know I can easily say, you know what, anything that comes, quickly and fast is very dangerous. They always say speed kills. You always have to take things easy. Don't just react immediately. Think about it, make a research, ask people, do you know this? Do you know this company? Do you know this agency? Have you heard of this? And if it's all no, then it's a definite no for you as well. Don't join. Don't go there at all.
Guys, we've got some comments. One from Satando Kumalo van Rensburg. I'm sickened by some of the things our generation is faced with and having to overcome. We earlier on had Butiro Adel Pale saying, most of the issues you are pointing there are part of mental health. The enemy is our thoughts as individuals. We have Lisa Marie saying, if someone I'm already friends on Facebook with re-adds me, I always check with them, like call them or message them, code topic to confirm. And we've got a whole lot of others. What do you guys think? And as artists, just if there's any kind of artistic way also that we can approach this.
It boils down to what we've been saying. It's all about self-esteem. It's all about self-awareness. It's all about self-pride. It's all about us taking care of each other. But if we do not take care of each other, no one else is going to take care of us. Problems which start on social media, a person will want to feel like they need to be loved. They need to get attention. If you don't give attention to your kids, to your sisters, to your family, I mean, yes, we will disagree on certain things, but all those disagreements, imagine somebody, if there's one of the greatest gifts which we have in life, it's time. That's the greatest gift which you can ever have. Time. One thing which you need to learn, we've got to learn to keep up with the times which are given to us and the challenges which are given to us. Our previous generation, like Omabetu, they faced different challenges. There was apartheid, there was no social media. There were different challenges along that time. Right now, we are faced with different challenges. It's up to us to understand those challenges and try to strive. And the only way for us to do that is we're going to keep on educating each other. I mean, there's no problem if you don't know how to do something, you ask. If you don't know what directions, you ask. No matter why you're angry at your sister, but if you know what she knows a certain section better than you, swallow your pride and ask, say, I'm coming, cousin. I know we haven't spoken in 10 years, but I'm coming to your neighborhood. I'm going to a certain place to an interview. Can you please just come with me, accompany me? I cannot go alone. It's all about just us suppressing our pride. That's all.
Now, what if I were to put it to you, just all three gentlemen, if you could tell me from your own perspective, what you see being the future of someone who chooses to boycott social media or digital transformation or anything related to the cybers. If a young person today stood up and said, I'm hearing these wise people speak and it makes me not even want to start, what would you say their future would look like, most probably in your eyes? Maybe if we start with Lungani.
Go first, Mr.
Where's
Fez.
Lungani? Mr. Gwala.
Banana chocolate.
Well, well, obviously, what I can say is there are. If you remember, we had Audrey last week, and he mentioned that one of the huge issue that we have is the reason why social media is bad is because there's a lot of bad people who has access to social media. If we can get more good people on social media, then there's nothing wrong with social media. So if you boycott social media, then that's a different story, because again, if you remember, Princeton said the issue is not social media, is the social media users and how they use social media. So if we can gather all these people who has good intention for into social media, then things can change. We cannot boycott social media and say we should. There's a lot of things that social media does which are good, and if we say we're getting rid of social media, there's a lot of things that can fall, and maybe, who knows, crime might be even worse than when we had social media. So I think what I can say is to use what we have in a wiser way and in a way that will protect us, rather than saying, oh, there's people who are using social media in a bad way, so then social media is bad. No, how can we use social media and there's always good and bad. That's why I believe everything is in pairs. We have two hands, two eyes, everything is in pairs. There's good and there's bad, there's weak and there's strong. So we have to be strong and overpower the bad. But we cannot get rid of the bad. We cannot. We can overpower the bad so that the good stands out. So not starting at all is not an option, because if you're not starting, then you're joining the bad. It's like when you're seeing someone being abused and you're not doing anything, you're an audience, you're supporting that.
You're part of the problem.
Yeah, you're part of it. But if you do something, then you're against it. If somebody, a simple example, if somebody, somebody hits you and you hit them back, they have recruited you. You're now part of whatever journey they are taking. Now you're hitting people just like they do. So it's what we can do is to do the opposite. So for that person who's watching and saying, I don't know, I'm just frustrated, I can't even start. If you don't start, then you are part of the problem. But if you do something, then you are crushing, the problem that we're facing, actually. Princeton, I'll throw it to you. I don't know if that answers your question. I don't know if I heard your question correctly, but yeah.
That means perfect, by the way.
I totally agree. I always say sometimes you got to look at it like how people used to say back in the day when it used to be about voting. And if you're not happy with the current party and they say, oh, I'm not going to vote, I don't care about politics. And then you don't vote. But then again, they used to say your vote. If you don't vote, then that means your vote that you didn't vote goes to the same party that you don't want to be a part of.
Exactly. Exactly. Mr. Shiz.
This is going to be interesting. I'll make a few examples. If there's somebody out there, if I remember your question correctly, they don't want to be a part of social media, they don't want to be a part of anything just to do with technology, there's no problem with that. But also those people must be willing to not be a part of this world. I'll put this into perspective. Nokia was the most advanced company when it comes to cell phone. They sold more brands than anyone. Even Samsung hasn't caught up to Nokia. iPhone hasn't caught up to Nokia. Nokia is still sitting at number one. But when I know when Nokia did fail, Nokia decided to go for Windows when everybody else was switching to Android. Even when they've discovered Uguti Windows was still failing, they still spelled to good no. We're a big brand, we Nokia, nobody's gonna catch up to us. What happened to that brand? It fell. I mean, as people, we need to learn to accept things which we cannot control. We need to accept things which we cannot change. As much as I can decide what I do with my time, I cannot decide what anybody else is going to do with that. The moment I learn to accept that in life, the more I'm going to be at peace with anything else. If you're saying what you don't want to be part of cell phones, just know good one thing. If you need to call somebody, you're going to write a letter. But how are you going to send that letter to that individual? If you want to go and live in an island, it's okay. You can go and live in an island, but you're not going to be part of this world.
Yeah.
It goes to another topic again, which we said earlier about technology taking over my job opportunities. Technology is not taking over my job opportunities. That's not true. I mean, if 10 years ago you decided, which one I know you're going to become a nurse, you're going to become a delivery man. You know very well what in these things which are called what? Drones. Drones does more deliveries than anything. So you rather educate yourself who would know right now at this stage what's going to be happening in 10 years. You do your research. Of course, I need to become an engineer. I need to learn how to program. You're learning how to type. I was thinking to myself, you're going to go to an exam, you type 5 pages. You make one error, you need to restart everything again. Come on, right now I've got the word. I'm even struggling with spelling. Go by know what word is do auto-correction. Yes, 100%. You were correct. But I'm not going to go and waste my time.
Okay, so
and the language is changing as well.
Okay, so so now I think we've jumped into a digital evolution. Okay, if we want to go there, okay, it's fine. I'm happy with going there. If you guys think that we have discussed enough when it comes to Ilantoza in human trafficking, it's fine. But if you think you still have more ideas of how we can protect our people, we can go there. But let's take a break, maybe watch this performance from Benjamin, and then when we come back, we can discuss some more. Maybe we can decide if we move on to one last topic or one last discussion before we close the show. Do you guys agree? Can we do that?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
And
yes.
It's not good we need to agree on this. We owe it to them. But it was one of our findings last week.
Right. Absolutely.
It was one of our deep findings.
Absolutely. Yeah. So let's check this performance by Benjamin Moso, all the way from South Africa. He represents the community of disabled people. Shout out to Gladys, all the way from Johannesburg. Watch and let me know what you think. We'll be right back. Drop us a comment below. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you've been through some crazy stuff. But remember, only share what you're comfortable with sharing on the internet. Remember those words because we just highlighted on that today. So enjoy this performance. We'll be right back.
Hello everyone. My name is Khomotso Benjamin Miso. I am from Krugersdorp in South Africa. Welcome to the Articulation Show. The following piece is titled No Shame, and it's about showing that as a dancer with a disability, you have to have no shame in how you look, how you move, and how you dance. Enjoy.
Ah, okay.
No.
Welcome back. Welcome back. You were saying, Tilo, you were saying something?
No, it's not mine.
Welcome back. That was a performance from Benjamin Mosso. And the title of the performance is No Shame. Don't be ashamed of yourself. Accept yourself the way you are. Whoever came up with the word beauty is what they used according to what they saw with their eyes. Not your eyes, not anybody else's eyes. So accept the way you are, and you are beautiful the way you are. Thank you so much, Benjamin. Beautiful performance. Well, let's get back to our topic. I know, Mr. Shezi, you wanted to introduce one of the issues that we talked about previously. Please, I'm just gonna throw it to you.
Okay, it's not an introduction. It's one of I think I wouldn't say what something was hit me, but it boils down to a question which Tilo asked earlier on regarding anyone who wants to stay. It's okay, you can do it, but you must be willing, which you're not going to be part of this world. Everything in this world revolves around technology. The food you eat, that's technology. Everything which you do. I mean, right now, we're trying to save animals. The only way which we can save animals, they've even discovered a technology on how to create fish from plants. And even our plants are not original plants, which we used to know from the past. They find a way to manufacture plants as well. Right now, we're finding ways, technology on how to use waste and reproduce it. We need to save this world, even though that is going in a very, very slow pace. My problems, it damages to this world. We might not even survive the next 2,000 years with the current situation. I'm talking about saving nature. I'm talking about saving our rhinos. How many animals have we driven to extinction? A lot. So the moment you figure a technology was advanced, that's when we can learn to save all these animals, but not by finding a way not to use them. If you love the meat, you can have veg, which tastes like meat. Ama solution, they did find a way to how to produce our cells to make sure even our plants, they can taste as meat. So technology is also assisting us to move forward. We're not saying which we are gods, or we're creating life, but we can just manipulate matter towards the advancements of humankind. That's all.
Which I find very interesting.
Now,
which I find very interesting, Mr. Shezi. You've mentioned a lot of good things that technology is doing, and there's also now let's talk about the bad side of technology and see how we can create something that can bring goodness with technology instead. For instance, you talked about job loss. People are losing their jobs, and let me make a simple example, which I did previously, that people who works at the retail stores, eventually they will lose their jobs because people soon will be using self-services. They will just gather their grocery and then they'll check out. They won't have to speak to anybody, unless there's a technical error. One person who's a technician will come and fix whatever that needs to be fixed, and that's it, or a manager, whatever. But all the stuff that is assisting, they will lose their jobs. So how do we protect those people from losing their jobs? How do we do it? You mentioned something which is very profound, and if you are planning to be a nurse, get used to make your research, what's going to happen, but how do you find out what's going to happen in the next 10 years, in the next 5 years? How do you keep yourself alert? And as a nurse, what other things that you can look into that will support you, that will support you if you lose your job. I think we lost to Mr. Shays Lapaya.
Yeah.
Yeah, But
You know-
but one of the things that I want to add before you say something, Princeton, for instance, for a person who wants to be a teacher or a person who's studying to be a teacher, can you imagine you spend thousands and thousands and thousands, of rands or dollars, starting to be a teacher, and then the next thing, technology evolves. You don't need to be in class teaching people or teaching students. Where do you go? Where do you go? Are you gonna go to a farm, like an undeveloped area where you can, get paid less and teach these young people who are not yet introduced to technology? Or
Yeah.
are you, so how do we balance this? How do we protect ourselves? How do we keep ourselves alert and be in line with where technology is?
I think one of the questions you asked was how do we protect people from losing their jobs? Let's say I'll use the retail, for example. I don't think we can protect people from losing their jobs. I think it's for the people now to let's innovate. If you look at, I'll just use the banking system in this country. I'll use the Blue Bank. You all know the Blue Bank. That bank was big, still big. They had many, many branches in this country. If you look now, there's less branches, and those branches that exist are actually, they've become smaller. So what that tells you is that all those ladies that were on the counter, 15 of them back in the day, they lost those jobs. Everything now, you go to the bank, they tell you go to the ATM, go on your phone. Go to the ATM, go on your phone. So what you're saying is that something that people didn't anticipate. When I was in the States in 2008, we were using a self-checkout at Walmart.
Yeah.
That the stores here people should already know, you know what, that's not going to be around for long.
Yeah.
The self-checkout has been happening for more than a decade, So it's probably going to happen here in our country. So don't think of it as let's save the retail cashier. Think about how can the cashier take the technology aspect of it and improvise and what's the word I'm looking for? Where you keep up with the times.
To develop that small skill that you have so that it's in line with the current technology.
Yes, but there's a word for it where you have to keep up to date. So I think, and I'll go back to the teacher thing. If you are a teacher, don't look at it as I need to save my job. The internet has opened up more avenues for you now to go out there and teach kids in another country and get paid 2 times the amount you're getting paid right now. So it's not about how can we save that job. How can you be aware about your industry and evolve in your industry? Because the internet has created that. I'll use me as an example. I'm not as popular in my area for doing what I do as a producer or whatever. But now because of the internet, I don't have to worry about the guys in Durban or the guys, because I sell my stuff to all over the world from right here. So you always have to look at it as in, you know what, how do I take what I have and I just can't think of that word right now, to take advantage of the situation and not look at it as, oh, COVID hit. Okay, I cannot perform. Okay, what can I do now that COVID's hit? There's this social media. Yes, it's taking the jobs away, but at the same time, it's also opening jobs that you never thought about.
I mean, for instance,
okay, yonke le nto, it's about teaching people how to identify opportunities.
That's it.
That's all. It's about teaching people how to identify opportunities, how to have an eagle eye. I call it an eagle eye, ngoba it's able to look at a distance. If you can analyze and look at the world, what's going to be happening in 5 or 10 years to come, then we might even lose my old driver, because then we might have self-driven cars. There's a lot of things which we are about to lose.
Already.
And a lot of people, there's this joke here called in South Africa, Telsa is not ready for South Africa. Imagine when you don't pay for your car, and it drives itself back to Dakar. No, I mean, it's a joke, but we know what's actually going on in South Africa and what's going on in the world around us. So it's all about being self-aware. In Africa, kids should be taught coding at a very young age. People who made Facebook, none of them are graduates. Babe Safunda, they just learn how to do coding. They started playing. Most good producers of music, for the school to produce, in their garages, in their bedrooms. They just took a computer, set on the internet, and they learn how to do things. As much as we can complain all we want about technology, but it's here to stay. It's either we take the technology and we cast ourselves out of this world, and we're not going to exist. But the moment we do that, we are going to become beggars. I'll just be specific. We are going to be beggars. If you think right now you wanted to provide the career guidance, people can just enter my software and then they discover my courses without even going anywhere. So that's the type of awareness. That's the type of awareness which we're supposed to be bringing. We should be offering a career guidance to kids in high school. It's okay, kids, if you want to survive in the next 20 years to come, biggest problem is now in South Africa, we've got too many graduates, but none of them are educated. This is what I mean. Not so good they are not educated, they are educated, but they did not question what certificate are they carrying in their hand. What is that certificate gonna do for me? I know I've once said that stress would after matric, I can't sit at home and do nothing. You're gonna go and waste 4 years just by pursuing a career which is not gonna help you out at the end of the 4-year cycle. So what do we find? Skati, energy, Malia Bazal, and giving yourself false hope. We need to look at that. We need to face the reality and teach Ingane while he's saying about all the industrial revolution. I know they've had seminars in town, everything, but and they started educating them about it. They've never had to even invite people to sit on television, to sit on radio and discuss it. Okay, now this is what Africa is. Okay, if you look at China 30 years ago, where they were as a country and the economy are, and where they are currently, it's a whole different game. They discovered that, okay, we've got a high population. How do we fix our issues? They started teaching kids at a very young age how to do maths. Those kids had to learn how to code. See, I was a code that in a no. Sure, that's all we were learning in primary school. I know, Mr. Gwala, you'll testify to that. That's all which we learned. But what that assisting me with, I know how to draw a frog. I'm not going to eat a frog. We don't eat a frog. Maybe if I wanted to hunt them, I'll know exactly how my weaknesses are. But that's the disadvantage which we had. And I feel our parliament is not doing enough. My decision makers are not doing enough. Goes back to what my brother Princeton said earlier on. If we're not going to participate in voting, we're not doing justice as well.
Yeah. Okay, so before we talk about what we can do, then like us as a small group, as a group of articulation, and whoever is watching at home and willing to join us in whatever movement that we come up with in trying to resolve these issues that we are facing. Maybe are there any comments that you'd like to highlight, Tilo, maybe on our Facebook?
Nothing except for Umamiya Tabi says good evening, fam. And Satandwa Kumalo van Rensburg again says great show, guys.
Absolutely. All right, thank you. So now let's look at what can we do now, us? What can we do to save at least that small number of people that we can reach? Because we never know what can happen. We can save, everyone is creative in a different way. You can save one person's life, and that person can save millions and millions of lives. So yeah, please go for it.
It's simple. Okay, ladies first.
Yeah.
Well, you're welcome to go, but as a team, I know there's a lot we can do. As an individual, what I've been doing so far, there's a big buzzword going around in corporate streets called future proofing yourself. Future proof. Um, Individuals being future fit. I was listening to Princeton earlier saying that previously we've had these big banks with these big branches, many of them having multiple tellers. And now when you go to one teller, or maybe not even a teller, because there's a cash accepting ATM outside, for example, and possibly that means that all these people have lost their jobs. That's not the case. For example, because I used to work in banking, and I know that it's not only related to banking, that people whose jobs or whose skills or the roles which have become redundant as a result of the digital evolution, those people then get repurposed as human capital. I hate using people calling them capital or resources, but as a company's human capital, the companies have now gone towards repurposing people who's, for example, they used to be physical people, for example, at call centers who used to dial numbers. Now there's electronic dialers. For example, let's say it's a debt collector that now dials a number, picks up a number from the database, dials it. When one agent is finished talking, then the dialer picks up that someone's dropped their phone and sends them the next number. So the person who used to be a dialer, for example, the company will find out what have you always wanted to be, or look at your skills and your propensity and see what they can train you for or educate you. So also, Putis Pagamiso mentioned the thing about people studying the relevant fields. I'm part of a team that offers career guidance at universities. And what we've also been doing is looking up future jobs that are going to become, future skills that are going to become high in demand. I'm an IT project manager, and we're in the IT field as a company. So that has also helped arm us, but it's helped shape my perspective of what the future may look like. It's not without research, so there's a whole lot of research that goes into it, but analyzing global trends. South Africa as a country is very far behind in as far as technology is concerned. I mean, if you look at our police force and how they even solve cases, the one thing of cell phone network triangulation can close so many cases, but it's a last resort. There needs to be warrants. There's a whole lot of red tape. People don't have the correct tools of trade, or they don't have the correct skills, and so forth. There's so much that we could be doing if people were armed with the correct knowledge, and it's not unavailable. We kind of need to all look in the right places, and to those of us that know, the people of us sitting around the table, I can call us kind of gurus in each of our own field, not to pat my own self on the shoulder. I mean, listening to you all speak, I get gobsmacked and I'm thinking, wow, who am I sitting around? So definitely that means we've got a whole lot to offer. Whether it's we write a song about it, or we direct a film, or we give talks, whatever we do, but it must be futuristic. If I'm wanting to be fit, because they call it future proofing and future fit, I can't be future fit if my mentality is still that I need to sit at this particular desk, have a mug and a photo of my wife and kids, and that's going to be my desk for the rest of my life. I must now train myself, whatever I want to do, to be able to do it remotely, because now I've seen that one disease, a COVID of sorts, can cause me to be stuck at the desk and have to do this. I mean, one of the episodes of this Parliament spoke about doctors are going to start doing operations on the other side of the world, from the other side of the world. And we also need to change our thinking. Filmmakers need to start looking at all the possibilities of, rehearsing online. I know there's certain jobs you absolutely have to be there for, but all of that is changing. I'm telling you, robots are going to be picking up our data. Just blink twice and you'll see.
And yeah, just
I mean, I have one at my house right now.
You see.
Picks up my stuff, takes it out, and I'm joking.
Just to add on that before
No,
Princeton.
but you joke, Princeton. Actually, there is a robot now. that goes around the house. It's got 2 wheels, and
Yeah.
it doesn't vacuum. It magnets it, but it picks things up and puts them in their place from knowing where it usually sees something. Google it, you'll see. That's why I was actually believed you, because it's not something of the future anymore. It actually exists. They are
Well, that's
training humanoids are now jumping obstacles, ducking things. They're getting taught, and I wish I could play you a video. We've been
seen the
watching a
dog.
lot of these.
I've seen the
Dogs
dog
are
one.
being
That's
trained
one.
to behave like
Yeah.
real dogs. Humans, they carry bags, they do household chores. There's labs dedicated to advancing their abilities. That's why I keep saying that there will come a time, because we are feeding them data and they are learning about us. We are teaching, we are arming them with knowledge of how we operate. There will come a time when these creations of mankind can communicate with each other without our help, and they won't need us anymore. And there's no telling where the world will go. They might even choose to dispose of us, and we won't even be able to stop them anymore.
That's true, because I mean, right now the cars, you talk to them. I mean, you talk to your phone. I was in this car. I don't know if you guys been in this car called Cherry. You talk to it and it does everything you ask it to do. Right here, I mean, these people driving these cars. You talk to it, can you start now? And it starts. Cherry, please close the windows. Close the windows. Can you warm my seat up for me? Yes, warming your seat.
In
Can you
Cape
believe
Town,
that?
someone stood by the gate and pressed a button, and the car came. It was a
Yes.
construction manager, a person where they were developing properties, and I think he was flexing to the people who were actually laying the bricks. And he says, "Look at the car I bought." Click, click, click on the remote. The car drove itself and came to him. Cape
This
Town,
car,
yeah.
oh, this car, well, these are normal cars. I'm talking about Cherry. You'll find them in Durban. This car has got a satellite. So as the car's moving, it's showing you the people and the people around the car. But almost like from a drone perspective, I understand the camera in the front and the back. This is showing you from the top, your roof. Everywhere you go, it's showing you where you are, the road, all around town, wherever you are. It's showing you the aerial view close by of your car.
Well,
And you talk to it. Everything you talk
Now
to
you're
it.
giving me another idea. Space is littered with satellite monitoring devices, and we could put those to very good use because that car doesn't have a camera hanging over it. It's
No,
making
it
use of
doesn't.
satellite monitoring devices. We could be using
Yes.
those to solve crime. We could be using those to track missing persons. We could be using those to locate stolen cars and all of that.
well, that takes me back to your point, the point that you raised, Tilo, Uti. It's somehow an organized crime. Because if you look at it, I mean, technology is there in the world, but how is it impossible to track, somebody, a human being? How is it impossible? I mean, I don't want to go there, but what you're saying just now,
Go there.
Uti, the way it's like how technology is evolving, we're getting all these beautiful, exciting vehicles, but education is just still the same. It's even worse from my perspective. It's not going anywhere.
You know what I think? Sorry to cut you guys off. I think this is on purpose. Especially, I'll use us as a country in South Africa. It's on purpose. We could fix the country, but because of the system and the government, if they implement and make these things workable, they wouldn't be able to get away with half the stuff that they do. I mean, for example, you look at Dubai, they say that in Dubai, the police are not visible. But you know the rules when you're there. You know the rules when you're there. Even in China, as much as there's police that are visible, you know the rules when you're there. So you're not going to do something because you know what's going to happen. You know that
But
the
hold on,
technology
That's not a
is
problem.
active, is there.
That's
So
not a
we know
problem.
about that because our ministers and our president, they travel often. They know. So they don't want that. They don't want that.
But Princeton, hold on. Hold on.
Mr. Shezi.
Before you open
Raises
another
a very
topic.
valid point there.
Yeah, no, hold on. Before you add another topic, that's a whole different topic. I just want to enlighten you one thing. You cannot expect people to make decisions which are going to be effective in 10 years to come if they're not going to be around.
That's true.
Hmm.
And that's why I
I'll be
say
specific.
that's why I say is that it's almost like we don't want to fix the country. Our upper echelon, they don't want to. Because a lot of the stuff, if they implement these things that are working in other countries, Dubai, China, Australia, Canada, the crime you won't be able to commit as easily as we are now.
But do you know what's in South Africa hackers anjani? You bring something and they hack it, they make it work against you.
Yes.
And that shows Gutsi, and in South Africa there's a lot of creativity, there's a lot of creative people, there's a lot of talent. But
why can't we use it? Why can't we use it?
That's what we need to find out. Why? I'm sure people want to use it. But again, it's a different topic.
That's why I say to me, it's the government that won't allow us to do the things that need to be done so that people don't go missing, so that people don't commit crimes and break the laws.
Mm.
You know, these things can be implemented. But if we do, then it changes the ball game.
Yeah.
Changes the ball game. I mean, you know, you've traveled, you know that from the time you enter the country, you feel like there's a guy watching you. Huh?
Because
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Yeah.
You feel like, yeah, I am not going to cause anything. Just let me get to my seat on the plane back home. Tell me you didn't feel like that. Tell me you don't
getting
feel
onto dangerous things now, Princeton, because
No.
definitely,
I'm talking about.
definitely,
I'm talking about.
the state could be doing a lot more with the intelligence that is being collected. You would be so surprised. You know that our phones constantly are recording and without our permission. I will tell you one example because this one won't get me killed. I used to work for Zappa. Zappa is the competitor of SnapScan. You know that payment getaway.
I know.
And I'm
I
sure
know
I shouldn't probably even be exposing brands. And it's not an expose, it's actually a safety feature, but people don't know anything about it. To protect their customers from fraud, every time you click the thing that it must scan a QR code, takes a photo of you. Zappa has droves and droves of people's photographs, even at ATMs. ATMs record our faces. There's cameras by ATMs we don't even know. Our faces are all over. They record our conversations. They have access to our text messages, what we text each other. The CIA, well, this is the SIA, State Intelligence Agency, they've got a whole lot of information which they could be put into better use, you know, to serve the purpose of a well-functioning country, better run this nation. And it's not being maximized partially to protect people's right to privacy, but I feel like so many rights to privacy are already being violated. And if it were to benefit the people, I really don't see, other than what you said about it's now going to expose a whole lot of stuff maybe that should not come to light for the general public.
Yeah.
But I mean, now we digress.
Well, it's an interesting discussion, and we unpacking a lot of things. I can see.
Yeah.
I can see. So now let's wrap up. I know Dude is waiting there also to close the show. It's getting late for him, but let's wrap up. Maybe any final words for each of you. Maybe let me start lapaya go Mr. Shezi in the corner. Any last words, Mr. Shezi? And maybe I think we can also arrange to have a meeting where we can start a movement. If you want to know where the meeting is and when and how you can be part of the meeting, please use the comment below, or also you can DM us, inbox us or do whatever you can to contact us, then we can invite you in so you can be part of this meeting, you know, to come up with a movement of findings that will be very useful in the community. Mr. Shezi, any last words?
My last words are simple. Everything boils down to the individual. If you want to identify why you've got problems, go look at the mirror. If you want to know how you can change your life, go look at the mirror. For instance, you know what you want to do with your life. You know what you need to do to get there. Some people grew up dreamed about Ubama soccer players, but I've never even seen them one day train up exercise on how to even kick the ball. Some of them even made it to the football profession. Instead of them capitalizing with, okay, I've got a skill, let me just enrich my skill. You reap what you sow. Some people don't deserve the things which come to them. It's up to us to protect. And the moment, if you're gonna grasp a lot of negative energy within yourself, you are gonna be surrounded by negative things, negative thoughts. It's up to us to keep always have a positive energy, always have positive thoughts, and make sure with even people around us, nabo bahlezi be positive. No matter even if they are angry at you, you don't care. Ukumkhulumisa, trying to change how they think, you're not gonna lose anything. Just by talking to a certain person. Once you get to the bathroom, you can take your phone and look at it. Believe me, it's the best time to look at your phone. Once you're in the bathroom, no one is going to be wanting to be in the same bathroom with you. Before you sleep, maybe for 15 minutes, you check your messages, you respond to certain texts. It's all about how do we spend our time. Remember one thing which we've said earlier on, time is your most precious gift you can ever have in life. So be careful how you use it. That's all. And also, it's technology. Don't be scared of technology. For now, technology is still harmless. Learn technology. If you do not learn technology, then technology will learn to control you. That's a fact. If you cannot control technology. And if you cannot keep up with the times of today, and might as well dig a grave and hide yourself. You're not going to be part of this world. And you're going to keep on causing more and more and more problems. If my family members let us what and ban, friends, let's learn to love each other. That's more important than anything which you can ever discuss.
Wise words there from Mr. Shezi. Princeton, any last words?
Last words, I would say, you know what? Take the tools that you have and study them and use them for the better. Yes, there's going to be bad and good, but just make sure that the good outweighs the bad. If you have a phone, study that phone. You'll be amazed at what the phone can do. If you're using WhatsApp, study WhatsApp and see how it can protect you. You know, if you're using Instagram, learn the app and figure out how you can benefit from the app. Same with Facebook, same with whatever you're using. Figure out how these apps can protect you. Like I know, for instance, if you double tap, I think on the power button and the volume button, it takes a picture, and it sends an SMS to a relative. Wow. You guys must just look at that. I think it's called SOS. If you're in danger, there's that feature on your phone where you could tap the power button twice and it sends a message that says help to a relative. You got to set that on your phone. So just things like that, leaving your live on when you out in public, so your people can see where you are. You know, if you're a kid and you're going out, send the live to your mom, put the live on your phone, go out, have a good time, come back home, they can see where you are. So just simple things like that. You need to learn and figure out how you can be protected at all times using social media. That's all I have to say.
Before see Valengotilo, I just want to add on that, Princeton, because I think that's also a very important thing to add while I still remember, because most of us, we do things just to make money. That's when we don't take what we do very seriously, you know, because if it means it doesn't make money anymore, then we're going to stop doing it, you know. So if you do something because you love it, you do whatever it takes to learn, make a research, keep it strong, you know, make it be in line with the now world, make it better and better and better and better. You'd even invent something that will keep you going. You know, so if you go to work just because you want to make money, then it's not going to help you. You know, so do what you love, because the love will drive you to a direction that you never thought of. And
That's
to
true.
add on that, Princeton, you know, be aware of what you post on social media, because it can be used against you in the future as we evolve.
That's very true.
You know, sometimes we don't know, maybe in the next 10 years they will open a lawsuit against what you've been thinking in your mind. You were thinking of killing somebody, and then beep, 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 here comes the police.
That's true.
So
People have been discredited from entering model pageants like Miss World and all of these Miss South Africa because of a tweet they did when they were 18.
I've seen people being
Happening.
cancelled because
Yes,
of
it's
what
happening.
they said previously.
You enter, you become top 5. Next thing they go back,
Exactly.
you posted something that was racist in 2011. That's you're gone. It's
Exactly.
happened.
Exactly. So yeah, I wanted to add that, and then Ntokazi, please, any last words?
Young ones, the grass is not always greener on the other side. Make a decision to see the beauty in everything, to see the beauty in yourself. Body positive vibes, spread love, be helpful, spend time with people who are doing this right. If you see someone, if you identify someone who is doing well, who is technically savvy in terms of the Instagrams or the social medias, or even the tools at home, you know, gadgets at school, just spend time with people who you've identified who are good at them. Learn a thing or two. Sit with Lungani, ask him to teach you how he does what he does. And to the older people of our generation, please open your hearts to learn from the people who have been more exposed to these kinds of things, to teach and to grow and to learn from each other. I challenge each of us watching out there here on the show, my fellow panelists, to all go home and find one single way, one single technological improvement which you can make either to your own life or to those around you. Solve a problem at school, find a way to study easier using, you know, to make a process that takes long, to make it shorter or quicker. You know, just challenge yourself to find something which is not being done all over the world, just to discover something, you know, maybe that's hiding in plain sight. Challenge yourself to future-proof yourself and to make it, you know, in the coming generations. Let's say you're 50, challenge yourself to do the research that will help you not get left out when your great-grandkids, you know, are cracking a joke about, you know, I know I'm not a fan of TikTok, for example. So, and I know as an artist, there's a lot to be gained with social media reels. And now I'm going to go and find out what's the best way to make those videos that chop and change and add graphics and sound, you know, and I can do so many things, but such a simple thing, you know, something like that, something that's not going to take a whole lot of effort. Pick the lowest hanging fruits. Thank you for joining us. I leave you in the capable hands of Lungani, Fanaga Chocolate, and Dude to please wrap up the show for us this evening.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, African Thunder. Thank you so much, Princeton. Thank you so much, Mr. Shezi there. Thank you so much to all of you who are watching at home. It has been an amazing conversation. Thank you so much. I will see you next time. Do Timfanaga Baba, please. And thank you so much to Benjamin for giving us a performance. Yes, if you want to know more, please follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, Facebook. It's The Articulations. I will see you next time. Dude, take over.
ke besiniphathele khona kwishow yethu yanamhlanje The Articulation Show la kade si-unpacka khona a topic about social and digital evolution. Ngizophinda ke futhi ngithi eyitawola, ladies and gentlemen, manene namanenekazi, bobhuti labosistera, igama lami ubongusa kaMngcobo, umzilakazi ukhambule umalandela ilanga lize leshona. This is the show before the season finale. So khumbula ukuthi siyabuya ke ngawo umhla ka-29 la sizovalelisa khona season 1 wayo ke The Articulation Show. Ngiyathemba ukuthi kuningi okufundile ozokuthatha uphinde ukudlulisele phambili ukunike nabanye nabo baphinde bafunde. Ungakhohlwa ukuthi siyatholakala kuzo zonke izinkundla zokuxhumana on Facebook na ku-Instagram. It is The Articulation Show. Please do follow us. Kanti ke on YouTube channel, you can also subscribe on our YouTube channel. That is The Global Sunday. Igama lami ubongusa kaMncube, kanti nami ungangilandela ke einkundleni zami zokuxhumana on Facebook. You can just follow and search like my page. That is Uduti. Kanti ke Instagram and also on Twitter, that is @duchillers. Bafethu nginithanda kakhulu. So phinde sihlangane futhi once again on the 29th of May. Salute.